Now let's get into our Wonder Woman discussion. We got some facts for you for Wonder Woman because we do so fucking well on facts.
Oh, yeah. If you listen to any of our other podcasts, you can tell. We just roll through these, no problems at all. And Matt's going to take the mic this time for the 10 facts.
I'm going to show you my
whatever
phone.
facts. I don't even think there's a number this time.
No, there's not going to be because it is a page for 10 facts, but I am not going to read all 10.
No. And last time we got hosed because I couldn't find number 15.
That's why you don't say a number.
Yeah.
One of the facts that we have is they say first female superhero. We all know that, I think. Maybe some of you do, some of you don't. Wonder Woman was the first ever mainstream female superhero. She made her debut back in 1942, just 3 years after Superman and 2 years after Batman's successful debut. Her original name. Do you know her original name?
I do not.
She was named after a bra. No, a Wonder Bra. No. Wonder Woman was going to originally be called Suprema. Suprema was supposed to be a feminine version of Superman.
Okay. That kind of sounds villain-esque.
From what I understand, it was supposed to be Suprema Wonder Woman. Like,
okay.
It was supposed to be this long fucking title.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad they dropped the Suprema.
Inspiration. Nah, fuck that one.
All right, moving right along.
All right, we'll read this. So the guy that created it, William Moulton Marston, created Wonder Woman after being inspired by his wife, Elizabeth, and a woman that lived with the couple called a mistress. They don't have that in there, but I'm going to call it a mistress.
Yeah, pretty much.
Olivia Brine. She was created to be a female equivalent of Superman and a feminist. All right, cool. Good job. She's got titties. Yoo-hoo. Girl power. Justice League of America. Wonder Woman is the founding member of the Justice League of America. She made history by being the only female superhero in the group at the time.
Oh, one of the 3 founding members? Is that what they mean? Or she is the one who started the Justice League?
Wonder Woman is the founding member of the Justice League of America.
Interesting. Did not know.
This is a really shitty website, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's just poor.
Yeah, poor writing.
I skipped a lot of other ones because there was like other ones that are like 50 facts on this and 45. I'm like, I'm not good. This was the lowest one.
Okay. So we went with you, whatever website this is from.
LOL what?
Yeah, that's
.com.
That seems like a very reliable source.
Totally. Daughter of Zeus. In the New 52 reboot, it stated that Wonder Woman's mother, Queen Hippolyta, had an affair with the Greek god Zeus. Makes Wonder Woman a demigoddess. Mm-hmm. Good for her. He's back. Bondage. Fuck yeah. The main reason why Marston created Wonder Woman was to explore the thoughts of women's rights and the suffrage movement. When Wonder Woman is consistently bonded in chains by men, it represents the suffering many women gone through. Gone through. What the fuck? I think they fucked up on the what.
This is a very reliable source.
Suffering many women gone through.
Okay.
I think they have a what though before gone, and it
what many women have gone through, maybe, not what gone,
possibly. Yeah. Costume controversy. Good God damn it, dude! You're probably wondering how do these guys do so well? How do they make it through life? By looking up very shitty websites.
Yeah.
Just because they had the lowest count on facts.
Always good entertainment.
Wonder Woman's costume caused a lot of controversy for some parents. I was about to say some reason because that was what I was thinking. They thought too much of her back was being exposed for young readers.
In the 1940s, I could see that.
Yeah, that back, that really gets you going. The only time I ever care about a back is in different positions. Anyway.
Yep.
Just to see how far I can.
Yeah, so
shoulder blade. Anyway, America. Wait, what? I don't think that's anything. Okay, I clicked onto a different thing and somehow got into 10 fascinating and shocking facts about America you didn't know. So, I don't know what I clicked. So that ends our Wonder Woman facts.
Those are some interesting facts for you guys.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that? What is that, Private Pile?
Very intriguing.
I think the only one was her name. And maybe the bondage thing.
Right.
I don't know, depending on how kinky you are.
Oh,
Wow, that was a complete, utter failure in so many ways.
That's all right. That's perfect. We'll keep doing it. I like it.
Yeah, you like it, because I did it this time. It wasn't you. I avoided, because mental floss was the other one. And I avoided that one
Yeah,
because of
that's
what you
the one
went
that I
through. I was like, all right, fuck those guys.
Oh, man.
So I was doing my best to avoid that shit. Wow. You know, I got a couple other here little facts that maybe will help out. Some little behind the scene things about the movie itself. We'll talk about this a little bit. The Themyscira scenes were shot in Italy, but they scouted locations worldwide. All right, whatever. I'm just reading these now. Everyone hung out at a resort while they were in Italy. Cool. Oh man, this
nice.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, these facts are shitty. Like, you have to read the whole thing.
And those are 2 facts on the behind the scenes of Wonder Woman.
I mean, I can read these articles. I mean, I guess they just don't have a nice little fact. You have to read like a whole fucking...
Oh, okay.
Like 2 paragraphs to kind of really get into this. Like, director Patty Jenkins gave a very specific note to Lucy Davis for playing Etta Candy. What that note is, you have to find the article. Because I'm not gonna figure out what it was.
Again, people, we skim these.
The Amazons don't dress for men, but they still care about how they look. Fucking awesome.
Okay.
Again, read the paragraph.
Who's the paragraph provided by?
Who does this? Cosmopolitan.
Very fitting.
That guy is stupid.
Oh, here's an actual interesting one, and I may actually read this one. The No Man's Land fight scene was one of the hardest to get right, which you'll hear in our spoiler review if you haven't heard about it, but this is one section of the film which you've seen a lot in the trailers, is the No Man's Land fight. The scene, maybe I won't read it because it is kind of a spoiler. The importance of Patty, a woman directing the movie, isn't lost on anyone who worked on the film. Fan-fucking-tastic. All right.
Okay.
So,
whoo!
Oh my god, that was a swing and a miss, my friends. A swing and a miss.
That was a foul ball. I'll give you that. Made contact.
That wasn't even a swing and a miss. That was watching strike 3 go right down the middle. One other small fact: Wonder Woman has the biggest opening ever for a female director.
Yes.
Currently, right now, sits at $100 million domestically. And it's still got time to grow because we're recording this on Sunday, so it still can go up. It's beating already some of the estimates of $95 million.
Yeah. So
I actually thought it was going to do a lot better. When I saw the estimate of $95 million, I really thought it was going to do a lot better than that. Because Batman v Superman had 160-something million, and that had a Wonder Woman in it. And I get that's a showcase between Batman versus Superman. And I really thought that Wonder Woman would have that at least $120, $140 million range. But maybe some things kind of killed it for Wonder Woman. I don't know. Maybe the past reviews of the DCEU killed it a little bit. But she had great Rotten Tomato score, so yay. But I'm sure she'll have a lot longer legs than the past DCEU movies.
Pun intended.
Yes. Oh, did she have legs?
Yes. Did she have longer legs?
Dude, I did dream about this, by the way. I won't go into too much detail about my dreams.
All right.
But they were ruined a couple times, and I was very angry. Oh, good times. All right, so let's get into our non-spoiler review of Wonder Woman. Jane, you go first.
All right.
I've already talked enough.
Yeah, after all that. So, Wonder Woman, really enjoyed it. It is a very basic plot. It's not. There is some feminism in it. Feminism ideologies, I guess, but it's not overbearing, and it has a lot of action, very smooth storytelling. I feel like you go from, this isn't really spoilers, but you go from Themyscira, and then she eventually comes to, which if you've seen any of the trailers, this is basically how they kind of lay it out for you. Then she shows up to our world. Well, and she breaks through the barrier or whatever, shows up to London, and she's ready to fight this war. I think the action was awesome. The humor wasn't too overbearing. I was really worried about going into this movie, especially with how high of a score it got on Rotten Tomatoes.
That's how sad it is for us. We were talking about it before. Actually, how high the Rotten Tomato score was on this actually worried us.
Yes,
because we're like, oh fuck.
Yeah, it's just gonna be way too campy and way too much humor, and I was pleasantly surprised. Really well done. Has a little bit of adult humor in it, but not too much. You could still take your kids to. I didn't feel it was 2 hours and 15 minutes or 2:13.
2:21.
Oh, 2:21. Okay, so I didn't feel that it was too long.
There's some parts for me.
Really?
Some parts dragged out. The Themyscira part, as cool as it was cool seeing the island and everything, but I thought that got dragged out a little too long. I thought that was a little taxing. I don't know. Her as a child and stuff like that whole little sequence I thought dragged on way too long.
Okay.
Maybe because it was a kid actor and shit like that. And
I felt it was perfect. They had to show that she was the only child on the island, that everyone kind of cared for her and was looking out for her. And then, they had to show her growing up, on the island. And I thought it was paced out pretty well.
Okay.
So,
and there's just some parts that kind of dragged just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit for me. There was a couple points where I was kind of like, ugh. All right, come on. Let's mosey on just a little bit more.
Move it along.
I get it. You're trying to get character development in here, but I really don't give a shit about the guy in the skirt. All right. So I'll leave that up to you.
You're right. Yeah. Which they didn't really care about him too much. When we get into our spoiler talk, we'll talk about him. But yeah, I thought it was a really fun movie. Which I hate the use.
It was a joyful movie.
Yes.
It was so much fun
and joy, but it also. Which when we can talk more on when we get into the spoiler talk, but I had some connections with characters. I enjoyed the villains. A lot of other people didn't, which I'll get into that as well. The non-spoiler is just kind of a build.
Yeah.
To where you just want to listen to the spoiler talk.
The villains were good and bad for me in some sense. I saw how the villains were going to go down from a mile away for me.
Yeah,
so,
I can't wait to talk about that point. I was kind of surprised by that, but yeah, that's cool.
I pretty much saw how that was going to go. The battle at the end was cool. We had a cool in battle. The story I felt very smooth for overall. You're right on that. It definitely didn't jump around like the theatrical cut of BVS,
right,
and the Suicide Squad.
Right.
So it definitely was left alone, and this director's vision was actually left alone for once.
Yeah.
So that was a positive.
Yeah, it's very smooth. I think she might have benefited from a pretty simple plot.
Right.
It is pretty basic, so things can go sequential with no hitches or anything. However, I guess you can argue that other movies could have done the same. I thought the CGI was pretty awesome. There was like 2 spots where I noticed, I was like, that is weird.
There's a couple of green screen moments. It's not necessarily the CGI, but you could tell there's a couple green screen moments where I was like, "Whoa, that looks bad."
Yeah, there was probably like maybe 2 or 3 that I noticed, but to me it wasn't enough to completely take me out of it.
There's one part, and this is not much of a spoiler because it's in the freaking trailers for God's sakes, but there's one part where Steve Trevor's flying a German plane away. And it looks bad. It seriously, at one point, it looks like it's a model on a stick. And like,
really?
I thought it looked bad because it actually looked like he started going sideways, like the model's going sideways. Like it looked bad to me.
Okay.
And the way, I mean, I don't know how World War I planes really looked, but they were trying to CGI the plane, and he looked way too big for the fucking plane.
I think that's accurate. Isn't that the case where the cockpit is so small? And they don't really have a whole lot of room.
Right, but like his head was just so much bigger, and like it just proportional to like the wings and the plane itself. Okay. It just looked goofy to me.
Yeah.
And I actually heard a guy in our theater kind of start laughing at the moment I noticed this, so I don't know if he was laughing at something else or he was laughing at the same thing I was.
I would imagine they would have built a plane, or at least the cockpit of the plane, and that's what he's sitting in, and then everything else behind him was green screen.
Maybe
that's how.
There's just one part where he's flying off in the distance. It's like supposed to be this moment, and and the green screen just looks bad. If we watch it again, you'll see it.
Yeah,
because now it's going to be pointed out to you,
right,
and you'll notice.
Yeah,
and you'll notice how goofy it looks. But and then there's a couple parts just when people are falling, and the green screen is behind him and stuff like that.
Yeah, I've noticed that. But slow motion, there's a lot of slow motion in this, which I want to get into my theory when we get into the spoiler talks. But there is a lot of slow motion. Some people said it was overdone, but I thought the slow motion looked really cool. A lot of the fight scenes, I thought the CGI was really cool. There was maybe like one part where it looked kind of sketchy. You got the green screen feel, but for the most part, they kind of set a lot of them up similar to some of the other DC movies where there's you're not really focused on the background. It's everything kind of in the middle, because the background's usually like flames and all sorts of stuff. So without
fire, explosions, death, destruction,
without ruining too much.
One of the things I did want to point out was your wife went with us.
Yes.
So we had a female with us through this to see if there was a such thing as girl power or not.
Right.
So you talked to her about it, and she did make one comment when we were leaving. There's one scene where she's like, "Yeah, that was go girl."
Yeah.
You go girl. And like,
yeah, it was the one that you've seen in the trailers, the No Man's Land scene.
Right.
And we'll get into more detail on what my wife felt about the scene itself. But yeah, she did mention that. She was like, that was the you go girl kind of scene, which the guys have that too. I mentioned that, in like Batman vs Superman, where you're like, oh, that's my boy kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
my boy Blue.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so some of the little bit of the negatives for me was, and this is just my thing, and I kind of get why they did this, but all the Germans spoke English, and it was bugging me.
Yes, that was actually one of my negatives too. I was gonna bring that in the spoiler talk, but yeah, because they do use subtitles in this at certain points, so it would have added an extra level if all the Germans spoke German and then you read the subtitles.
There's when we get into the spoiler talk, because we keep saying that over and over again. When we get into the spoiler, there's like one part that I was like, that's so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
But that was kind of annoying for me that the Germans spoke English, and I get it. They're trying to get to a wide audience, so maybe children don't want to sit there and read.
Yeah,
and the Germans are shown. Well, some Germans are shown somewhat heavily through them. Really, not that much. It's just mainly the antagonist Germans, and you can have them talk however they want to talk to each other, really. So, but there was just other points.
Yeah, that's true. But you would think that German would be the way that they would go,
right?
You would think, because if that's their native language,
right?
So, and to the same point, that wouldn't have added too much more. Like, they could have been talking English every other time, but then in like the one or two scenes where it was all Germans, then they could have been speaking in German and had subtitles, and it wouldn't have overdone it at all.
Right. Yeah, and then like I said before, I thought this movie was actually fairly predictable. There was no twist to it really to me at all. It was a very straightforward movie, so that's kind of a little bit of a negative. But I guess in some sense, some of the superhero movies like this, they are pretty straightforward. There is no mega twist or surprise thing that happens a lot of the times. Yeah, because either their trailers ruined it for them, or
right.
Like Batman versus Superman.
Exactly. there could have been plenty of twists in that movie, but it is. It's I don't want to say it's surface level because there was a lot of connections that I'll get into that I thought were really cool. And to be honest, to me, this is DC at its best. If they want to, and if you listen to our other episodes before, I don't have anything wrong. I love Man of Steel. I love Batman vs Superman. Suicide Squad was okay. But if they want to branch out to a broader audience, I guess this is the way to do it. And it's good for our to bring up another episode. We had our guest Tim on. I can't remember which one it was for, but he was saying that DC fans have to realize that eventually they're gonna have to change the way that they do things to make it more mainstream appealing to a broader audience. And I was skeptical on that because I liked what they had done so far, especially once you get to the ultimate cut of Batman v Superman. But if this is how they're gonna do it, then I'm absolutely okay with it. The humor wasn't overbearing. It still had, it was gritty, it was dark. Certain parts you can have morals, and they delve a little bit deeper into humanity, and I enjoyed that.
I wrote down here that I don't know if you'll agree with me on this one or not, but I thought Chris Pine was probably the best character. Steve Trevor, I thought he was the best character in the movie.
Yeah, I would say so. Other than Wonder Woman,
I thought he was better than Wonder Woman.
Okay,
I thought his situation was much more compelling you know, we get this whole fish out of the water story with Wonder Woman, which can be funny, hardy har har, laugh laugh laugh, all that stuff. That's fine, but I thought he was the most interesting character out of all of them. He had the more interesting story.
Yeah.
He had his beliefs and his character pushed to the limit, I think, more than Wonder Woman in this one. And that's kind of how I felt. I liked how everything turned out with him and what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And his end goal was just, you know.
Yeah.
And so I thought he was one of the better. I thought he was the best character in the movie.
Yeah, I think Wonder Woman and him are two different characters, and
Right.
their dynamic. I could relate to them and enjoy both of them individually, and their dynamic together was great also.
And one little thing, I think your wife brought this up, and I kind of thought about this when I first saw the Rotten Tomato scores, was if this movie was influenced at all by kind of like the PC culture, like,
Right.
is this only getting good reviews because it's a woman-led movie?
Yeah, I was surprised that my wife brought that up. That she said that before we were, we were talking about the Rotten Tomato score, and we have our opinion on them, which you heard in the intro. But yeah, when she brought that up, that you can't take Rotten Tomatoes completely to heart because of the PC culture. They may not want to pan a woman-led movie.
Right. Especially in this day and age where it seems like if you talk negative about anything that's not, I don't want to say normal because it's not necessarily normal, but it's just like if it's not that straight and narrow, if you talk about something against
Against the grain.
Against the grain, against a certain group of people or individuals, somehow you become a bigot and a hate monger and all this shit.
Yeah.
So, but to me, personally, I'm not going to talk for you, but for me, this movie, I don't think would necessarily been influenced anything by like a PC culture. It's a solid movie.
Yes.
It deserves, for the most part, all of its positive reviews. There is some dumb things in it, which, like we've said 5,000 times so far, you will hear in our spoiler talk if you make it that far.
Yeah, exactly. I was actually surprised that Rotten Tomatoes was in line where I think they should have been.
Kinda. I think they're a little high, but we'll get to the score.
Yeah.
Definitely go check this out. Support this movie.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth watching. It's a great addition to the DCEU.
Yep.
It definitely builds you up, makes you want to see other DC movies, or makes you want to see Batman vs Superman, where Wonder Woman was at.
Yeah, exactly. One of the reviews that I did watch on this was Jeremy Johns, and he brought that up. It kind of made me laugh because he made it sound like he's only seen the theatrical version of Batman vs Superman, and he's only seen it once. But he brought up the fact that he's starting to understand how the universe is being set up, and even he's okay with it not being completely like the way that Marvel did. Here's all your individual movies, and then here's the
ensemble.
Yeah, the ensemble movie.
Yeah.
So he can now understand, okay, this is a little bit different and I like it, because now it makes him want to go back and watch Batman v Superman again for the second time, apparently.
Well, I don't know. He could be again. He could be
right.
I said it yesterday I watched it again, but it's probably like the 14th time I've seen it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I guess it was just his tone and the way that he said it made it sound like he's only seen it once, and it was the theatrical version because that's the only review he's done on it. So I was like, well, then you missed 30 minutes of the movie, which that was our complaint.